Until now, evidence was weak that the Mediterranean diet reduced the risk of heart disease. But a New England Journal of Medicine study reveals startling new findings that will maybe silence some of these skeptics for good. Right now, joining us is Wall Street Journal's Andrea Peterson, who's been reporting on this. Very interesting study just out, basically showing that this diet can cut the risks of stroke and major cardiovascular problems. Why is this particular study considered such a breakthrough?
I mean, cardiologists are incredibly excited about this study because it is so large. It followed about 7,500 people over 5 years, and it's really scientifically rigorous. It is actually a randomized controlled trial. It took people that all had sort of risk factors for heart disease but didn't actually have it yet, and randomized into 3 groups, and then gave them this certain diet, and then followed them over this 5-year time period. Most studies now have either showed a diet's effect on certain risk factors like cholesterol and blood pressure, or they've been observational, basically asking people, once at a certain point in time, like what they ate for breakfast, over the last 5 years.
But this was very rigorous, as you point out.
It was.
And statistically, what they found was a very significant drop among high-risk people.
30%.
30%
of the risk of stroke, heart attack, and death from cardiovascular disease. And that one cardiologist noted that's actually pretty much equivalent to the benefit that you get from taking statins,
which it's huge if you can get it from diet. And speaking of diet, let's just walk people through again what exactly a Mediterranean diet entails. I mean, I mentioned the wine, but there are other things involved too.
It's basically a diet that's heavy on fruit, vegetables, fish, and beans. It really reduces your amount of red meat, commercial baked goods, soda, things like that. So it's one that's traditionally been eaten in southern Europe, and this was a Spanish study actually. So people had a sort of background in that.
And did they
cuisine as well
measure certain levels of things in their blood or in their urine to make sure that they were
they
were actually adhering strictly
actually
to the diet?
Quarterly, actually yearly they give people a very detailed sort of medical questionnaire, and then actually they actually studied 2 different groups that were following a Mediterranean diet. One added extra olive oil, actually 4 tablespoons a day, and then 1 extra nuts, 30 grams of nuts, hazelnuts, almonds, and walnuts. And those seem to be pretty comparable in terms of the outcome versus people that were advised to have a low-fat diet. There was no limit on how much you could eat, and people were actually not advised on exercise. So it really was sort of looking at diet alone.
This is very big news in the health industry, and good news for some of us who actually follow the Mediterranean diet, I guess. Andrea Peterson, more in the Personal Journal. Thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate that.